Question 1. What's the legal minimum insurance cover you must have to drive on public roads? C. Third party only. The minimum insurance required by law is third-party cover. This covers your liability to others involved in a collision but not damage to your vehicle. Basic third-party insurance also won't cover theft or fire damage. Ask your insurance company for advice on the best cover for you and make sure that you read the policy carefully. 52% people fail their theory test exam first time due to hazard perception test. Practice 44+ hazard videos licensed by DVSA 2024 by joining our membership.
Let's get back to the video.
Question 2. What should you do if your vehicle catches fire while you're driving through a tunnel? A. Drive it out of the tunnel if it's safe to do so. If it's possible, and you can do so without causing further danger, it may be safer to drive a vehicle that's on fire out of a tunnel. The greatest danger in a tunnel fire is smoke and suffocation. Question 3. What style of driving causes increased risk to everyone? A. Competitive. Competitive driving increases the risks to everyone and is the opposite of responsible, considerate, and defensive driving. Defensive driving is about questioning the actions of other road users and being prepared for the unexpected. Don't be taken by surprise. Question 4. You're waiting to emerge at a junction. Your view is restricted by parked vehicles. What can help you to see traffic on the road you're joining? D. Reflections of traffic in windows. You must be completely sure it's safe to emerge. Try to look for traffic through the windows of the parked cars or in the reflections in windows. Keep looking in all directions as you slowly edge forwards until you can see it's safe. Question 5. You want to put a rear-facing baby seat on the front passenger seat. What must you do if the passenger seat is protected by a frontal airbag? B. Deactivate the airbag. It's illegal to fit a rear-facing baby seat into a passenger seat protected by an active frontal airbag. If the airbag activates, it could cause serious injury or even death to the child. You must secure it in a different seat or deactivate the relevant airbag. Follow the manufacturer's advice when fitting a baby seat. Question 6. Which sign shows that you're entering a one-way system? B. If the road has 2 lanes, you can use either lane and overtake on either side. Use the lane that's more convenient for your destination unless signs or road markings indicate otherwise. Question 7. Why is it bad technique to coast when you're driving downhill? D. The vehicle will gain speed more quickly. Coasting is when you allow the vehicle to freewheel in neutral or with the clutch pedal depressed. When traveling downhill, this will cause the vehicle to gain speed more quickly as you lose the benefits of engine braking, It may even lead to a loss of control. You shouldn't coast, especially when approaching hazards such as junctions or bends and when traveling downhill. Question 8. When may a passenger travel in a car without wearing a seatbelt? A. When they're exempt for medical reasons. If you have adult passengers, it's their responsibility to wear a seatbelt, but you should still remind them to use one as they get in the car. It's your responsibility to make sure that all children in your car are secured with an appropriate restraint. Exemptions are allowed for those with a medical exemption certificate. Question 9. What should you do if you start to feel drowsy while you're driving on a motorway? A. Open a window and stop as soon as it's safe and legal. Never stop on the hard shoulder to rest. If there's no service area for several miles, leave the motorway at the next exit and find somewhere safe and legal to pull over. Question 10. What does it mean if the electronic stability control, escape, indicator lamp lights up while you're driving? B. The escape system has activated. Escape is a computer-controlled technology that detects reduced traction and automatically makes corrective adjustments to prevent loss of control. The escape lamp comes on to alert the driver that the system has activated and the car is approaching its handling limits. It's a powerful driver aid, but it cannot save a car once its traction limits have been exceeded. Question 11. What does 25 foot mean on this motorway sign? C. The number of the next junction. Before you set out on your journey, use a roadmap to plan your route. When you see an advance warning of your junction, make sure you get into the correct lane in plenty of time. Last-minute harsh braking and cutting across lanes at speed is extremely hazardous. Question 12. At night, what does it mean if you see a pedestrian wearing reflective clothing and carrying a bright red light? C. You're approaching an organized walk. The people on the walk should be keeping to the left, but don't assume this. Pass carefully, making sure you have time to do so safely. Be aware that the pedestrians have their backs to you and may not know that you're there. Question 13. What does it mean if the signs at a bus lane show no times of operation? A. The lane is in operation 24 hours a day. Bus lane signs show the vehicles allowed to use the lane and its times of operation. Where no times are shown, the bus lane is in operation 24 hours a day. Question 14. You're invited to a pub lunch. What should you do if you know that you'll have to drive in the evening? B. Don't drink any alcohol at all. Alcohol will stay in your body for several hours and may make you unfit to drive later in the day. Drinking during the day will also affect your performance at work or study. Question 15. What does this sign mean? B. No through road on the left. This sign shows you that you can't get through to another route by turning left at the junction ahead. Question 16. What should you do if you want to overtake a long, slow-moving vehicle on a busy road? C. Keep well back so that you get a good view of the road ahead. When you're following a long vehicle, stay well back so that you can get a better view of the road ahead. The closer you get, the less you'll be able to see of the road. Be patient and don't take a gamble. Only overtake when you're certain that you can complete the maneuver safely. Question 17. What must you do when you see this sign? A. Stop even if the road is clear. Stop signs are situated at junctions where visibility is restricted or where there's heavy traffic. They must be obeyed. You must stop. Look carefully before moving off. Question 18. You've stopped at a railway level crossing. What should you do if the red lights continue to flash after a train has gone by? D. Wait. You must always obey red flashing stop lights. If a train passes but the lights continue to flash, another train will be passing soon. Cross only when the lights go off and the barriers open. Question 19. Which sign means that pedestrians may be walking along the road? A. When you pass pedestrians in the road, leave plenty of room. You might have to use the right-hand side of the road, so look well ahead, as well as in your mirrors, before pulling out. Take great care if a bend in the road obscures your view ahead. Question 20. You're driving in a slow-moving queue of traffic. What should you do just before changing lane? C. Look for motorcyclists filtering through the traffic. In queuing traffic, motorcyclists could be passing you on either side. Use your mirrors and check your blind area before changing lanes or changing direction. Question 21. You're waiting at a T-junction. What should you do if a vehicle is coming from the right, with its left indicator flashing? D. Wait until the vehicle starts to turn in. Other road users may give misleading signals. When you're waiting at a junction, don't emerge until you're sure of their intentions. Question 22. What should you do if your vehicle has a puncture on a motorway? B. Pull up on the hard shoulder or in an emergency refuge area and call for assistance. Pull up on the hard shoulder or in an emergency refuge area and call for assistance. Don't attempt to repair your vehicle while it's on the hard shoulder, because of the risk posed by traffic passing at high speeds. Question 23. You're driving along a country road. You see this sign. What should you do after dealing safely with the hazard? D. Test your brakes. If your brakes have been thoroughly soaked, you should check that they're working properly before you build up speed again. Before you do this, remember to check your mirrors and consider what's behind you. Question 24. When would you increase the pressure in your tires so that it's above the normal value? A. When carrying a heavy load. Check the vehicle handbook. This should give you guidance on the correct tire pressures for your vehicle and when you may need to adjust them. If you're carrying a heavy load, you may need to adjust the headlights as well. Most cars have a switch on the dashboard to do this. Question 25. What's the reason for the hatched area along the center of this road? A. It separates traffic flowing in opposite directions. Areas of hatched markings such as these separate traffic streams that could be a danger to each other. They're often seen on bends or where the road becomes narrow. If the area is bordered by a solid white line, you mustn't enter it except in an emergency. Question 26. You're at an incident. What could you do to help an unconscious casualty? A. Check that they're breathing normally. If a casualty is unconscious, you need to check that they're breathing normally. Look for chest movements, look and listen for breathing, and feel for breath on your cheek. Question 27. You arrive at an incident. There's no danger from fire or further collisions and the emergency services have been called. What's your first priority when attending to an unconscious motorcyclist? D. Check whether they're breathing normally. At the scene of an incident, always be aware of danger from further collisions or fire. The first priority when dealing with an unconscious person is to ensure they can breathe. This may involve clearing their airway if you can see an obstruction or if they're having difficulty breathing. Question 28. You're behind this cyclist. When the traffic lights change, what should you do? A. Allow the cyclist time and room. Hold back and allow the cyclist to move off. Some junctions have special areas marked across the front of the traffic lane. These allow cyclists to wait for the lights to change and move off ahead of other traffic. Question 29. Why should you reduce your speed here? B. A staggered junction is ahead. Traffic could be turning off or pulling out ahead of you, to the left or right. Vehicles turning left will be slowing down before the junction, and any vehicles turning right may have to stop to allow oncoming traffic to clear. Be prepared for this, as you might have to slow down or stop behind them. Question 30. What must you do if your ability to drive is impaired during a period of illness? B. Stop driving until you're fit to drive again. Only drive if you're fit to do so. Driving when you're ill or taking some medicines can affect your concentration and judgment. It may also cause you to become drowsy or even fall asleep. Question 31. What does this sign mean? D. No overtaking. Road signs that prohibit overtaking are placed in locations where passing the vehicle in front is dangerous. If you see this sign, don't attempt to overtake. The sign is there for a reason, you must obey it. Question 32. When may you enter a box junction? D. When your exit road is clear. Yellow box junctions are marked on the road to prevent the road becoming blocked. Don't enter the box unless your exit road is clear. You may wait in the box if you want to turn right and your exit road is clear, but oncoming traffic or other vehicles waiting to turn right are preventing you from making the turn. Question 33. Which type of vehicle does this sign apply to? B. High vehicles. The triangular shapes above and below the dimensions indicate a height restriction that applies to the road ahead. Question 34. When may you use hazard warning lights while you're driving? B. On a motorway or unrestricted dual carriageway, to warn of a hazard ahead. When there's queuing traffic ahead and you have to slow down or even stop, briefly showing your hazard warning lights will help alert the traffic behind to the hazard. Question 35. What does this sign mean? A. Traffic lights out of order. You might see this sign where traffic lights are out of order. Proceed with caution, as nobody has priority at the junction. Question 36. You want to turn right from a junction. What should you do if your view is restricted by parked vehicles? D. Stop, then move forward slowly until you have a clear view. If you want to turn right from a junction and your view is restricted, stop. Ease forward until you can see something might be approaching. If you don't know, don't go. Question 37. A single carriageway road has this sign. What's the maximum permitted speed for a car towing a trailer? C. 50 miles per hour. When you're towing a trailer, a reduced speed limit also applies on dual carriageways and motorways. These lower speed limits apply to vehicles pulling all sorts of trailers, including caravans and horseboxes. Question 38. You're driving with your front fog lights switched on. What should you do if the fog has cleared? D. Switch them off as long as visibility remains good. Switch off your fog lights if the weather improves, but be prepared to use them again if visibility reduces to less than 100 meters, 328 feet. Question 39. You're driving along a wet road. How can you tell if your vehicle's tires are losing their grip on the surface? D. The steering will feel very light. If you drive at speed in very wet conditions, your steering may suddenly feel lighter than usual. This means that the tires have lifted off the surface of the road and are floating on the surface of the water. This is known as aquaplaning. Reduce speed but don't brake until your steering returns to normal. Question 40. What does this sign mean? A. Waiting restrictions apply. There'll be a plate or additional sign to tell you when the restrictions apply. Question 41. What will happen if your car's wheels are unbalanced? C. The steering will vibrate. If your wheels are out of balance, it will cause the steering to vibrate at certain speeds. This isn't a fault that will put itself right, so take your vehicle to a garage or tire fitter to have the wheels rebalanced. Question 42. How can you use your vehicle's engine to control your speed? B. By changing to a lower gear. You should brake and slow down before selecting a lower gear. The gear can then be used to keep the speed low and help you control the vehicle. This is particularly helpful on long downhill stretches, where brake fade can occur if the brakes overheat. Question 43. What should you do when leaving your vehicle parked and unattended? B. Lock it and remove the key. An unlocked car is an open invitation to thieves. Leaving the keys in the ignition not only makes your car easy to steal but could also invalidate your insurance. Question 44. You're driving on a motorway at night. Which lights should you have on if there are other vehicles just ahead of you? A. Dipped headlights. If you're driving behind other traffic on the motorway at night, use dipped headlights. Main beam headlights will dazzle the other drivers. Your headlight's dipped beam should fall short of the vehicle in front. Question 45. You're driving on the motorway. Which lane should you get into well before you reach your exit? B. The left-hand lane. You'll see the first advance direction sign 1 mile from a motorway exit. If you're traveling at 60 miles per hour in the right-hand lane, you'll only have about 50 seconds before you reach the countdown markers. There'll be another sign at the half-mile point. Don't cut across lanes of traffic at the last moment, move to the left-hand lane in good time. Question 46. Which sign means no stopping? B. Stopping where this clearway restriction applies is likely to cause congestion. Allow the traffic to flow by obeying the signs. Question 47. You're driving on this dual carriageway. Why may you need to slow down? B. There are roadworks ahead of you. Look well ahead and read any road signs as you drive. They're there to inform you of what's ahead. In this case, you may need to slow down and change direction. Check your mirrors so you know what's happening around you before you change speed or direction. Question 48. Which lights must you use if you're driving on a well-lit motorway at night? D. Use your headlights. If you're driving on a motorway at night or in poor visibility, you must always use your headlights, even if the road is well lit. Other road users must be able to see you, but you should avoid causing dazzle. Question 49. You're driving at night with your headlights on main beam. A vehicle is overtaking you. When should you dip your headlights? A. As soon as the vehicle passes you. On main beam, your lights could dazzle the driver in front. Dip your headlights as soon as the driver passes you and drop back so that the dipped beam falls short of the vehicle in front. Question 50. What does this sign mean? B. Humps in the road. These humps have been put in place to slow the traffic down. They're usually found in residential areas. Slow down to an appropriate speed. 52% people fail their theory test exam first time due to hazard perception test. Practice 44+ hazard videos licensed by DVSA 2024 by joining our membership.